fellow travelers, Mark here with Wolters World, and today we're back in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And today what we're going to do is answer a question from one of our fellow travelers, Beth. And Beth asks, Wolters World, what are some tips to save money to travel? Because there's a lot of stuff we do to be able to afford to travel, and it's not just make more money. There's things you can do in your everyday life to actually cut down on your kind of expenditures to save money for travel. And I think that's where it really starts. And if you want to save money for traveling, you have to have the mentality that you're choosing to save. So you have to make some choices in what you're going to buy, what you're going to do, your lifestyle. That's going to be something that really have a big impact on your travel savings, okay? So I want you to have that mentality when you start off. Another thing you need to realize is it takes time to save money to travel. So you might not be thinking, well, I can save money in 2 months to pay for my trip to Europe or South America. No. You might want to think farther afield, especially if you know, I don't have a lot of income coming in. How do I save up for that family vacation I always want to take my family on? Well, sometimes you look 2 or 3 years out and say, hey, what do I want to see in 3 years? Where do we want to go? When my kid is graduating high school, where do I want to take them? And you might start planning for that when they're a freshman in high school, right? So that's something I really want to kind of get across, is it really takes the mentality and realize it takes time to get there, okay? And then think about the planning for it. So now that we're in the right mental state for this, I think what you really start off with in terms of saving money for travel is really reprioritizing your spending. I mean, that's a really big thing there. Think about the food you're getting, if you're going out, your entertainment expenditures, your clothing stuff, all these things you're spending money on. You need to reevaluate it. Maybe you stop eating out. I mean, it's not stop eating out completely, because let's be honest, that's stupid, but not realistic. But cutting out a few of your meals, eating from home. That's one thing we do. You don't really see us at restaurants a lot when we're back home in the U.S. because we save our kind of going out to eat money for our travels. Because why would I pay for Italian food in my hometown when I could save that $100 to take my family out, and I could put that towards 100 euros of food in Italy in the future? That mentality really kind of helps. And that helps you kind of offset some of your expenditures and your food budget, right? And that's why it's really important to start eating at home more, okay? I know it sounds silly and you don't want to do it, but that is one that you'll be surprised how quickly the money adds up, okay? Now, another one, and you'll hear this from a lot of older, financial people. Oh, well, the kids these days, they always buy all their Starbucks all the time. Well, I know it sounds kind of a boomery to say that, but honestly, if you could just cut back on your Starbucks habit, and it's not just Starbucks habit, whether it's smoking, whether it's drink, whatever, your vices, if you can cut back on those, that can really add up. I mean, think about it. Let's say let's maybe get 2 Starbucks a day. Let's say it's $10, $5 each one. Let's say you only go down to 1 a day, because let's be honest, you're not going to stop drinking coffee, right? Let's just cut back 1 a day. So you're cutting back 1 a day. So let's say that's $5 for one, right? And then you have it 5 days from Monday through Friday. And then you cut it out for just 50 weeks out of the year. That's $1,250 you would save. That is a ticket to South America from the U.S. That is a ticket to Europe from the U.S. That's a ticket from Europe to Southeast Asia. I mean, there is so many great deals you can get just by making those little sacrifices. And yes, it sucks not having my latte, chai tea latte, but you know what? After a while, you start to get used to it, and it really does add up. Those little things can make a difference. But don't give them all up, because then your life will just suck, and then you won't make it till when you want to travel. Another way you can save money and still have a life is actually, instead of going out to the bars all the time and clubbing, actually have your parties at home, because drinking at home or having your friends over for a party is a lot cheaper than if you're going out for drinks and dinner and all those kind of things. And that really can add up, because you never know. You might end up going to a club, and then we go to another club, and next thing you know, you spend $500 going out partying. You're like, wow, I could have just bought a $12 six-pack from the local store instead. But in all honesty, these first few tips really come down to this: tracking your spending. You want to see where your money's going. And this is the thing that's not just great for saving money for travel. This is good for retirement planning. This is good for, saving if you want to buy a house or your kids go to school. Tracking that spending helps you understand where the money's going out and where could I make some cutbacks. Do you see that? Wow. Once you start seeing your Starbucks bill at the end of the year, go to your credit card that you use for Starbucks and put last 360 days, just click Starbucks and see how much you spent. Or maybe it's Culver's for me. I love my Culver's. I'm like, man, I spent a little too much. I honestly was like, I'm spending too much money at Culver's. I had to cut back, right? Because it can add up. But tracking that spending really helps you get kind of control of things. And then you're also starting to track your savings. And that's why I recommend your next thing is actually open up a travel savings account. Have it so it's just your money goes in there. It's like a retirement fund. It goes to your retirement fund. You don't touch it till you retire. It's your travel fund. You don't get to use it until you go travel. And the thing is, that might just be $20 a week. You might be taking all those extra coins you have at the end of the day, collecting them together, then you go to the bank once a month and dump them off, and you get $100 in there. Again, it's little by little will help you start saving up. Because I'll be honest with you, collecting my coins and my extra like $1 or $2 left over actually paid for my first trip to go see my girlfriend at the time in Germany. Now, another thing you could look at is cut out the superfluous shopping. And when I say this is the I'm bored, I'm gonna go hang out at the mall. I'm bored, let's go to Target. Because let's be honest, you go to Target, if you're my age, you're gonna spend $150 there just because you walked in. You're like, I didn't come for anything. What happened? Eliminating those kind of experiences and those shopping trips can make a big difference. Another thing that the internet has made a lot easier to do is just selling your old stuff. I mean, do you still play guitar? I mean, let's be honest. Do you really? Sell it online. And it'll pay for the shipping. Man, you get $50 for it. Maybe get $200 for it, whatever. But you know what? You're not using it anymore. Free up that clutter. Free up that stuff that's there. Maybe you sell some of those old toys you had. And believe me, they're not going to be worth millions unless they're like in perfectly mint condition. But you can sell some of those stuff off, make some of that money to have an experience you'll remember and your family remember instead. So selling off those old things, I know for me, it was selling off the old video game systems. Like, hey, I sold this off. I don't play it anymore. And now you can literally get an emulator for any game ever on your phone. So why do I need the old Nintendo 64? Why do I need the old Genesis? Sell that, have those things, and that can help pay for a lot of stuff. And one of the biggest things that we did that really made a big financial impact on us when it came to saving for travel is we cut cable. We have not had cable for over 15 years. I mean, that is a $200 savings every month, or more than $200 savings, depending where you live. Like, what is your cable bill? Do you really need it? Could you go from the full cable package to doing just internet, right? And if you just have internet, well, like we watch YouTube and we have our Netflix, so we keep that our spending down to like, you know, $50, $60 a month instead of $200 a month. So that extra $150 that I'm not paying for cable plus all the other stuff, or $200, that goes directly into my savings. That's something like, yeah, $2,400, $2,500 a year I'm saving just by not having cable. And that's 2 or 3 tickets to Europe from the US. Heck, at certain times of the year, I could take the whole family and the grandparents for that price to Europe. So by tracking your spending, seeing where your money's going, making better financial decisions, you really can save quite a bit of money piece by piece. No, it's not like you're gonna make one change and pay for everything in one go, but over time, you can really save up a bunch, especially for students or people on a limited budget. Europe and South America or going to Florida isn't out of your financial reach. It's just a point of, hey, I'm not looking for this summer. I'm looking summer 3 years down the road, 4 years down the road. I can save little by little and then have that dream vacation that I've been saving up for. Because the accomplishment of saving up for that trip and then paying for that savings and not having the credit card bills afterwards, man, you can't beat that, okay? So I think another thing I want to add before I sign off is also have a budget for your trip. Like if you know where you want to go, like, oh, I want to go to Brazil. Okay, so the tickets from the US, $1,200. Okay, hotels here, about $100 a night, $150 a night if you go for a nicer one. You know, depending where you are, it could be down to $50 a night if you want to go cheaper. Food per day. I mean, you can eat a great lunch here for under $10. You go to a fancy place for dinner for like 10 to 20 bucks. I mean, you start to have an idea of how much money you need to have, and that'll help dictate how much you really need to save. Because if you're going to someplace that's more affordable, like Brazil, okay, Sao Paulo is not affordable, but other parts of Brazil, or you're going to Central America or Southeast Asia, your money goes a lot farther. And so you don't need to save quite as much, or if you do save a lot, it gets you a lot more stuff versus going to a Switzerland or Norway where, yeah, you got to save for like a lifetime to be able to afford to go there, all right? So, Beth, I hope this helps you give some ideas how you can save money, and some of you other fellow travelers, how you can save money to travel, because these little things on here, they really do add up. I mean, these are things that I actually do in order to travel the world, okay? So I hope this helps. Have a great time traveling. I'll say bye from here in Sao Paulo, Brazil.